I now request you to kindly take over the session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Matilda ma'am. Thank you, Raghunandini and Ritika for giving that introduction. Am I audible? Is it very clear or is it okay?
It's clear, Salini. Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, when you read the whole profile, I was just going back to my MBA days, like you people. I was also a student in VIT University. So I was just going back, when we used to have workshops like that and all. It's good to be among a young crowd again, to share experiences and all that. Um, so I think there are people just joining in. So no problem. Let them come in time. Um, Before I start, I have a question for you people. Like you're doing your just join. Yeah, they have just joined MBA, right? You have just joined MBA. This batch.
No, most of them are into the second year MBA,
Oh,
Salini.
okay. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
So second year MBA. Okay. So that means you have finished. So it's a one great milestone is covered, right? So they should be doing your what is it? Specializations this year.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. So, my question to you all is like to this batch is there anybody here in this batch who has got a work experience before? Maybe somebody else has asked this question, but for me, I want to know from you guys. Is there anybody who had a work experience before joining MBA program? If so, you can uh, maybe a reaction button or you can type it on the chat. Anything is fine. And nobody has got work experience. Like maybe it could be like 1 month, 2 month, or 1 year. Anything. Is there anybody with a work experience? Okay, Praveen Kumar says yes. Anybody else? Okay, Ganesh Murthy says no. Okay. Okay. Since isn't there anybody like else having an experience working in some company? It could be any role. I am not very specific about what you have done. So I'm taking that only one person has got the work experience. Okay. Praveen Kumar, can you unmute and then come online?
Ma'am.
Yeah, Praveen.
Good evening, ma'am.
So can you tell about what you have done, where you have worked?
Ma'am, I work in Ooty, ma'am, is some SP and Atmos, is some related with highway department, ma'am. Highway department, government
Okay.
job, government work, ma'am. I
Okay.
work in 1 year in site engineer and look some manager company and labor also, ma'am.
Okay. So what was your undergraduation?
Ma'am, B, ma'am. B
Oh, so you did your engineering and then you have come into MBA. Okay. So I guess you will be aware of the
Yes, ma'am.
different, what do you say, technology tools because you have done BTech already, I mean, engineering already. So are you very familiar with the computer languages and all?
No, ma'am, my core is mechanical, ma'am. But
So you
I
haven't
don't do
done
that.
any,
Don't
okay,
like
fine.
I
Nowadays,
have
like
but my core related I done, ma'am.
okay, related to your core
I
area,
done my
you have
core
done.
related.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
fine. Okay, so can you tell me what was your work like? What did you do? What was your responsibility at your workplace? Can you tell that?
Ma'am, my workplace I come some to do some design, ma'am. Some writing wall from rest wall to draw some design and calculate some load of, ma'am. Jellies, M sand load, the cement load we are calculated and separate the labor to do this work
Okay.
and control the overall labor and manage the timely complete that work, ma'am.
Okay. So then why
That's
did
type
you
of work,
decide to do a MBA later on? What is the reason? Because it's totally different, right? You're
ma'am.
coming from a mechanical
By easy
background.
to handle. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I do in work in civil related, ma'am. 1 year. But
So,
why I learned to do technically easy to learn, but handle to the human resource very difficult for me, man, because sometimes the big work we are working 30 to 40 levels in my side, but I would handle that the people, everyone different character from different places,
Okay.
man.
So what are
Easy
you
to handle to everyone
specializing?
is same,
Yeah.
but I
So in
complete the working timely.
yeah. So in MBA, what are you specializing in?
And my MBA
I think Praveen, are you there? I think it's disconnected or something. Yeah,
Yes, I think
no problem. Okay. See, I just wanted to know, like, from what background you people come in, because most of us, I mean, like, they do their engineering and then move into MBA. So I
sorry,
just,
I have some network problem.
yeah, okay, no problem. Praveen,
Sorry,
yes,
man.
no problem, no problem. You were telling about your
Marketing and
specialization.
operation, man.
You want to do marketing and
Marketing and
operation.
operation.
Okay, all right.
Operation.
Yeah, so thank you, Praveen, for giving us that input. So I am just starting my session from what you have told, right? So if everybody looks at what Praveen was doing before, he was totally into an engineering, construction, designing related work, and then he has moved on to MBA, and now he's going to specialize in marketing, something really totally different from what he was been doing in his past work. And then he also wants to do on operations. I think operations is a little bit somewhere related to what he was doing before. So we tend to change, like if you look at our entire interest of a study, we tend to change our fields from one to another, right? So when we were planning to do an MBA in the beginning, we had few specializations in our mind. It could be HR, it could be marketing, it could be finance, it could be operations, supply chain, logistics. So you had different options in your mind, right? And now if you look at, so that is a major functions of management, we all know that. But later on, things slowly started changing, right? We have when human resource as a department, like he was telling, managing people is something very difficult, and to do that, you need to be specialized. And also people like to even take up HR jobs, and like they like to mingle with people, so their characteristics is more like they want to specialize in human resource. But now, if you look at all these different functions of management, things are slowly changing in terms of technology. Whatever we have been doing all this while, we are again bringing in technology into each one of it, right? We all have doing our subject very perfectly. We want to be the topper of our class, but are we looking at the job market as such, right? So I'm here today just to give you a brief idea about when you go to a workplace, what is more important, right? We say different kinds of skills are important. Like if you ask, okay, what skill is necessary for you to get a job? Everybody will be like, leadership skill, communication skill, interpersonal skills. But how many of you actually look at technical skills, right? When I say technical skills, I'm not talking about the hardcore programming language or anything. Simple things, right? So can you tell me what technical skills are required for a MBA graduate when they go to a workplace? Can you tell me that? You can just type in your opinion on the chat box. What all technical skills? It could be anything, whatever your idea is, something that you have done in your first year MBA or anything, what is coming to your mind. Can you just type in the chat box? Technical skills, I'm asking. No idea? Dakshin, Hariharan, Arunima. Okay, Ritika says advanced Excel. Okay. What else? Is there any other technical skills that is required to you? Tally, okay. Dakshin says tally. That's all. Selva Kirtana, Navina. Okay, Ritika again, Tableau. Okay. Divine, Abhilash. I'm expecting answers from you all. Okay. MATLAB. Oh, great. Documentation. That's a good point. Yes, Hariharan. Especially when you are, if you're specializing in HR, I think that's one of the greatest skill that you need to have. Okay, fine. So, basic system knowledge. That's very good. We have PowerPoint presentations, Python. Okay. So, do you have a specialization of analytics by any chance? Can somebody tell me, do you have any specialized papers in business analytics related? Okay, you have SAP. Yes. So, okay. So, you do that in your first year or in your second year? Ritika says yes. Ritika, maybe you can unmute and talk also, because reading from the chat so many messages might be difficult. Ritika, can you tell me?
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, in second semester, we had business analytics as a common paper for every one of us.
Okay.
And now, third year, we have the specialization as business analytics, ma'am.
Okay. So, what did you do in your first year business analytics paper?
Ma'am, we were just performing small programs.
In
And the
what
basics of
softwares
what
have you
is how
worked?
analysis has to be done.
Okay. What softwares did you use for that?
Excel, ma'am.
Okay. What
And
else?
SPSS, ma'am.
What else?
SPSS, ma'am.
SPSS. Okay, great. Okay, so have you done any course on Tableau?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not yet. Okay, fine. So thank you, Ritika, for giving me that, that what you have done in your first year. And thank you all, whoever has given me that, that answers on the chat box also.
Thank
Right.
you, ma'am.
So, yes, as you mentioned here, advanced Excel is one important software that everybody uses, right? So, I'm just sharing a picture here. From this picture, see, when we say, I think you're all good at emails and, social media and blogging, because one part of marketing, I think you would have already you would have kept something in mind, like digital marketing, social media marketing. So we all know that these tools which is given for social media marketing, digital marketing, if you're looking for a job perspective, it's one area where you can all excel. You can have your certifications. To start with, you can have a certification from Google, and then you can start on with your small level digital marketing. But more than that, what the companies expect is your knowledge in spreadsheets and databases, right? Now databases, it might be a little advanced, but this, where you can start with is spreadsheets, that is MS Excel, right? Now I don't know how much you have done in MS Excel in your first year business analytics. Can you just tell me like something that you have done in your it's like a revision now, right? Something that, what you have done in your MS Excel in your first year. Can somebody tell me that, so that I can start from there and that's not a repetition for you people? I'm not going to take Excel classes here, but I can tell you how it is useful for you. Something that you remember, anything? Or you totally forgot what you have done in Excel?
Can I?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Ma'am, data visualization,
You have done in Excel.
correlation, yes, ma'am.
Then what
Correlation
else?
and regression.
Okay.
Then tools like goal seek, scenario manager.
Okay. Goal seek, solver, all that you have done,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay, good. So thank you, Sritika. So I think you have all gone to that advanced level of Excel. So one thing I want to repeatedly tell you people is that I don't know how many freshers are here, but whoever is in your just joined the second year, I would say that brush up your Excel skills, because all throughout we learn different softwares in our MBA course. But if you actually look at what you do after you get a job is working with an Excel sheet or any other spreadsheet for that matter, right? So since you have done like the options like goal seeker, solver, scenario manager, and all that, I would say that also look at the different functions in Excel, right? Starting with the the smallest of all that statistical tools like average, and then count, sum if, and all that you can do it. And the major thing is that more than you remember the functions of Excel, the best thing would be to the improve your the way you do your Excel. That means how fast you can look at the data and then present that data to somebody else, right? So somebody here has mentioned Tableau, right? I think, yeah, Ritika, you yourself has mentioned about Tableau. So Tableau is again a tool for data visualization, right? So I would say that even for Tableau, if you want to work on Tableau really well, the best thing is to understand what is MS Excel first, right? And since you have done all some of those advanced options in Excel, um, the major thing still is required. What is required is the basics of Excel, right? How you play with the data. So here, I'm just going to like since you told me you have done data visualization, I'm just showing you one example of data visualization. So now that we are all in the in the pandemic time, so I we teach this course of MS Excel to our undergraduate students. So we have a specialized course only on Excel, and we do different business scenarios, and then we sort out things in that using this Excel worksheet. So what I do with my students, that same thing I'm going to show you. It's very simple, but why I'm doing this here is because I want you to also practice using different data sets, right? So now that we are all on the pandemic, I'm just taking an example of the pandemic situation itself. So this is a website of World Health Organization. It's who.int international. So here every day they keep updating what is happening around the world, right? So as I told you, it's about playing with the data, right? And everything, where to start with, if anybody is wondering where to start with, data and data analysis or data visualization, you can start with your own household expenses and income, or you can even make a list of things that you buy for your home and things where you spend money on. You take 1 month's expenses, second one expenses. You can make a beautiful chart out of it, and even that you can represent in a beautiful picture or graphics. So here, for just an what do you say, for a demonstration sake, I'm just taking this World Health Organization website, and every day they update their data here in this website, right? So I'll show you where you can get data from. Like this, there are n number of websites. I will share the websites later on with you. Maybe towards the end of this day, I will send it to you all. So there is some options given here, like COVID-19 quick links. So there is advice for public, country, technical guidance, vaccines, etc. And then there is situation updates, right? So I'll just going through this situation updates. So there is situation report, situation dashboard, disease outbreak news, timeline, whose response and all. So nowadays, if you look at the TV news channels, nowadays we have different variety of news channels. Somebody supporting so many things, somebody against so many things. So what has changed in that news channels is the way they represent that news for you, and which is more attractive to people. So that is what the news channels are targeting these days. If you remember the Doordarshan news channels, there will be one person coming in front of the screen. They'll be reading out a news. They may not even have a proper facial expression, and they will just show some scenes which is going on. That's how their news reading was. But now if you look at the news channels, they give a lot of importance to the way, even the news reader, how they the sari, their clothing, the shirt, the tie, even the graphics that they use nowadays in the news channels, it's totally different, right? So whenever we have some kind of data there, we always see them representing in some picture format, right? There might be like people graph, there might be world map graph. So regarding this COVID-19 pandemic, I'm going to take the situation report from the WHO website. So there is this option, situation report. You can click there. You can go to this WHO COVID-19 dashboard. Like in Tableau, that Tableau is an example of data visualization. I think the same format what you're seeing here on the screen right now, right? You can see this, there are some small map here. That's an option for you to change. There is also a bubble map, right? To see, if I click on bubble map, you will see that where is more confirmed cases and deaths happening. So that information is given to you here. So wherever there is a larger dot, that means there is a lot of confirmed cases. The number of confirmed cases are high, and the deaths might be high. And also, if there is two options here, so the blue represents the number of confirmed cases, and the deaths represents the that orange color dots. It represents the higher ones, represent the the larger number of death cases. And also they have given total per 1 million population percentage change in last 7 days. So why I'm showing you this is exactly what you can do in Tableau software, right? It's very easy to learn Tableau. I can even show you Tableau free videos on YouTube. You can learn very easily from there. And what I want to do here is to download this data, right? So this is a part of what, since we have mentioned Tableau, I just wanted to show you this. But here there is something called as data table, right? You go to this data table, and all the information that you want, right? The country wise information, like the cumulative total number of cases, newly reported cases, the deaths, everything is given in rows and columns. So that is what you get in a spreadsheet. There's one of the computer skills that I told you that you should all have is working with spreadsheets. An example is a Google sheet or an MS Excel sheet, right? So I'm going to download this data here. There is an option to download here. You can see here, you can also work with this data. So when I download this, there is an Excel sheet that is downloaded. Maybe that is a extension with CSV file. So I already have one downloaded here with me. I'm going to show you that. Right, you can all see the Excel sheet, right? Can you all see that? Can somebody tell me, Ritika or anybody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yeah. So I just downloaded. I didn't do anything with the Excel sheet here. As such, I have got the data here, right? But I downloaded this sheet maybe 2-3 days back. That's the only difference, I guess. So here I have, if you look at the data here, the key to become an expert in data analysis and data visualization is the moment you see the data, you know that analysis should come onto your mind. Like, what can I do with this data, right? How can I play with this data? What all can I apply here? So the moment you look at it itself, you should be able to tell me that. So can somebody tell me, looking at this data, there is some column headings also. Looking at this, what all do you think can we do with this particular data? Can you tell me that?
We can make filter, ma'am.
Okay, we can filter. Okay, then any other? So if I look at this data, I have around well, how do I say? Yeah, there is 68,151 rows, right? And almost all the countries around the world, their names are given, and every data like regarding which who region. Maybe this column is not very relevant for us, but the number of cases, the cumulative number of cases, the new deaths that has happened, the cumulative death, the number is also given there. So as maybe Sandhya said, we can do a filter. So I'm just gonna apply filter here, and I'm just maybe I want to know how is the uh, you know uh, the number of cases is increasing, decreasing. I want to know of which country, maybe say Thailand. Okay, so I just go to this filter option, and then I click here Thailand. Yes, so here, right. So I have filtered out only Thailand. I think all this you know already. Maybe yeah. So I have the data till 18th October. So today's Excel sheet, if I download, I will have the data till yesterday. So I would have downloaded this Excel sheet on 19th. That is why I'm having the data only till 18th. So every day, the WHO website, I mean the World Health Organization, updates their website with the number of cases that is happening, and any diseases for that matter. They also have a Excel sheet on the measles disease and the polio and all that. So it's very interesting to work with the data that is something very close to our heart. So now we are all in that pandemic, so we can work with this data. So what you guys can do is see what all can be, like, you have learned so many functions, right? You have learned so many techniques what to do. So you can try to do something like this, download data from different websites and see what you can do with that. Where can you apply different formulas, right? So here the best thing is, like, if I'm comparing two countries, right? I'm comparing Thailand cases with India cases. Where was the peak? Which month was the peak? Which month the cases increase? All that I can just do with that, visualizing that whole data. Now everything is in rows and columns, right? But for me to understand from this data, it's very difficult because it's all in numbers, and looking at one by one with all these rows and columns is very difficult, right? So what do? I can just visualize this whole data maybe in a graph. So I'm just going to select the date reported, and I'm just going to select the date reported and the number of new cases. So I selected two columns, and I'm going to insert a chart. Let's see if it works out. Sometimes there might be an error if I don't select the cells properly. So I'm just doing a line graph. Yeah, so there is a issue here. Okay, this is something that we all have to see in Excel. Let's see if still I'm trying again. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, so there is some problem. Okay. leave it. Maybe let me try India. I worked with the same data maybe 2 days back. It worked perfectly for me. I don't know why it is happening now. Okay, so it's giving me an error message. I don't know the reason. Right. So I was just giving an option here. Maybe if you select to the columns, you will get that beautiful graph of where the peak was and where it has come down. So in India, when I checked the other day, it was giving me that the month of September and October, like between that was the peak. So whenever you have beautiful data with you, you should be able to you know make out of, okay, what can be done with it. And the same thing, since there's a lot of you have to select one by one and to see what is happening, the same thing can be done in a Tableau software in a very drag and drop manner. So much of content is here, and the same thing can be done in a Tableau software. The only thing is that you have to drag and drop into that particular spaces that is given. What should be your x-axis, what should be your y-axis, and you will get beautiful graphs out of it. So what exactly you saw on the WHO website, that world map, the same format is available in Tableau software, right? So I will also tell you what can be like the free videos that is available for Tableau. I can just show you that. Just give me a minute. See, there are n number of courses that is available on Tableau, on Coursera and all. But if you still don't want to, do that course by course, or you don't want to pay for it and do it, all that, sometimes you don't prefer doing a MOOC course, but you want to learn one by one, then you can do this. You can do this. This is a series of videos on Tableau. um, it is by the Tutorials Point India Limited. I usually go through their videos. So if you just type on YouTube Tutorials Tableau, and you can click on this Tableau. So you can see the playlist here. So they go one by one, in starting with introduction, how to install, what is the free version of Tableau, what is the paid version of the Tableau, how is Tableau different from it, like that. They have so many videos given here, and they teach in a very systematic manner. So this is not a MOOC course, but these are some videos if you want to learn Tableau software, right? So if you want to learn something on data visualization, and if you are an expert in data visualization, I should say that you can earn really good in the field of business, right? Especially business intelligence. So this is what the salary of people who are expert in data visualization is, right? In the US market, your salary would be somewhere around 99,000 to 1,58,000 USD, and in Indian market, it will be somewhere around 8 lakhs to 12 lakhs per year, I mean per annum, right? So it's not a simple salary, but you have to be expert in the softwares that you're using. So Excel is somewhere where you can start with, and Tableau is the next level. And these are some of the softwares that they usually use in business intelligence and other analytics software. So, but the major share for it is with Tableau Desktop, right? The Tableau software. Tableau Desktop is a paid version. The free version of it is called the Tableau Public, right? So these are other options given to you. Um, if possible, please do a certification course. Even Microsoft gives a certification course, or else you can do MOOC courses. Even on Coursera, there is free courses available for institutes on Microsoft Excel. They have different levels, like starting with basic, advanced, intermediate. So there are different levels to it. Even Tableau has certification courses, but it might be a little costly when you do it through Tableau. But if you're doing a MOOC course, maybe you will get a certificate from Coursera or edX or something like that. So this is something which I want to tell you. Whichever specialization you are taking, it could be HR, it could be marketing, but after all, we are all going to work with data, right? It could be any field for that matter. It could be manufacturing field, it could be the media field, film industry, whatever you name it. We are going to play with the data, right? And for that, your basics of Excel should be very strong. What function to be used when, what to do with the data, all that has to be very strong, and how quickly you do or you work with that data. And for that, if you are an expert, yes, you get a better salary when you go to a company or an institute, right? So that's all from my side. Thank you so much. Any doubts, please put in the chat box, or you can unmute and talk. And if you guys like have any doubts, okay, how to go about the certification, or like what MOOC courses to be done, or anything like that, you can very well ask me, or you can put it on the chat. Okay, I think, is it too much, or is it going over the head? Okay, everybody looks okay.
They're saying yes, ma'am. Old chat.
Okay, so since there are no questions, over to you, Sam. I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. So is there Metla ma'am there, or Grace sir, anybody?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Grace sir. So I hope the audience got a taste of why they should learn Excel, especially MBA students.
Tableau.
Yeah, and Tableau.
Yeah.
And so the most important thing is, I only talk in 2 lines. So my 2-line statement is learn Excel to excel in life. That's all. If anybody wants to excel in life, learn Excel. If you don't want to excel in life, you want to be within Namakkal district, Coimbatore district, Dindugal district, then no need to learn Excel. சும்மா அங்க போயிட்டு ஏதாவது ஒரு ஹோட்டல்ல வேலை செட்டானோ 20 ரூபா கிடைக்கும், 20,000 will get. Okay, so jobs are plenty, but எந்த லெவல்ல நம்ம இருக்கிறோம், what posh life you want to grow, because lifelong you have to work on Excel. Whether you're marketing, retail, HR, finance, you have to work on Excel. But the problem is there is no proper B schools where Excel is taught as a course. So that's why we included this in the module. We will help as much as possible to your colleges or to ma'am and all of you. Ensure that make Excel as a part of your life. Make it as a basic. It is so basic. Otherwise you'll be behind and somebody will come over you. Okay, so that is the difference. So yesterday we told you, do you want to be somebody or do you want to be anybody? Everybody said, I want to be someone. Someone. So you need to do something if you want to do someone. So Excel, please don't worry about it. It's basics. Tableau is very important. So if these 2 things you work as an MBA student, I'm telling for your career, in your interviews, you can tell boldly, sir, I'm a marketing student, but my Excel skills is this. I've done this spreadsheets. I've done this VLOOKUP. I do this HLOOKUP. I did this. I did this. I did this. You should have some meat to talk. Okay. Then you can also get into the analytics part. So there are two things. If you know Excel, they'll also give you a chance to get into the analytics part. So there's so many workshops. If you see webinars, retail analytics, supply chain analytics, HR analytics, healthcare analytics. So that's the reason we thought we'll give this. I hope you people understood. Ma'am, over to you before I take over for the digital resume. Yeah.
Thank you, Salini. Thank you, Dr. Salini. I think it was really wonderful that students could learn. Even I was thinking when
testing.
That I could make a value-added course for them on this.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So thank you. It was really great to listen to you, and hope everybody had a lot of applause for this session, because something new they have learned.
Yeah.
And I think our chief guest is joined. Derek. Cheshire is here.
I'm just gonna go away for a minute. I'll be back in a minute. Don't worry.
Sure. So okay, I hope everybody had a good session, because it's very good. It's timely help that you were talking about. In fact, one thing is so good here is that you make, like Johnson. I think you have learned from Johnson this. You are making people talk. That's more important than anything. Participative learning is very, very important.
She taught me or I taught her? You should ask her.
That you both only have to say. You also have to learn from her lots, no?
Yeah. No other way. Only one way. Either my way or her way or highway. I chose highway. Yeah.
Be like this in front of her, okay?
Silent mode.
Yeah. Okay, good. We know what is your silence also. Right.
Good. I hope, ma'am, what you can do is, as a center, your college, because there are people from Trichy and other colleges, no? Okay. You can develop a value-added course.
That's what.
A certificate course, and you can tie it up with some, good organizations.
We had from SAS India, Johnson.
Okay.
We had people from SAS India coming down and doing data visualization.
Okay.
So that was a value-added course for us. And now they were asking, because of the pandemic, I was just telling them to wait a little bit. But I also find more than SAS, this Tableau is being used by everybody, all industries now.
Yes.
Tableau also gives certifications, so we just need to get connected with them, and then they give the certification.
I'll connect you with the Tableau office, ma'am.
Fine, thank
company. You know why people prefer Tableau? That point I want to add here. It is for all the people who think coding is difficult. Coding, programming. If anybody doesn't know, no problem. Tableau is plug and play. You have the data in Excel.
Yeah.
Just put on X, put on Y, and then automatically it'll, so that's why it's one of the best, mostly.
One of my student who did his internship in Caterpillar, he used Tableau for his project work. So actually that is where I got a little bit of idea, because he had it in his laptop, and he also made me work on it a little bit. So it's like, people who have learned SPSS, R and all, I think Tableau is like
cakewalk.
Right. Yeah, it's easy to learn. But I felt, most of the industries are using this than even IBM Cognos. Once we brought IBM Cognos, it's a very costly course for our students. But then what was the students, input, about the outcome of it? Later on, after a year, when I was talking to people, they were saying, no company is using Cognos because it's very, very costly affair for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think in UK, most of the business people are using Cognos. That's what I hear. But in India, Cognos is too costly for the companies to afford.
Okay.
You can also learn Power BI, like for the students, if they have an official Microsoft license or something, they can do Power BI also, very similar to Tableau again.
Power BI. Yeah, maybe somebody can put it on the chat, or I'll just type it on the chat. That's also a good one.
Fine.
But the only thing is, student, see, ma'am, now the world is open to students. Okay.
Correct.
It's up to them what they go and get it from the market. But because when we were there 18 years before, we never had that much opportunities. All that we knew is that MS Excel, and there was one MS
SPSS also was there.
SPSS were there. I
Yeah.
don't know which version, 11 or 9, a very
No,
earlier
seven.
version.
When you people were there, it's only 7.
7,
I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
That itself we used to struggle in
Today
the lab.
it is 25.
25. See how many iterations I've taken.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
IBM has taken over SPSS, no? So they're
Hmm.
making a lot of small plugins like all these, but then of course we need to focus on what the industry will use.
True.
Right.
And for an MBA student, I guess that is good. So what students can do now is for the digital resume, I would recommend them today as a part of a small homework, if they can put in, you have a group, right, ma'am? WhatsApp group. In the
Yes.
WhatsApp group, if everyone can just put a 1 minute self-introduction video, then we will analyze everyone and give inputs, we'll give individual inputs, not group inputs. Yeah.
Okay.
And all that they need now is maybe they should just know what structure to talk and how to put little small animations. They can download KineMaster, KINE, KineMaster, or they can download Panapto. I'll just type a couple of things. These are free on the.
Tell us the spelling of it, no? What is it? KineMaster?
Okay, I've typed it there.
KineMaster.
Yeah, you can download this KineMaster, or even Derek sir always OBS Studio. All right, OBS Studio. Yeah, I'll just show this online before we hand it over to Derek sir, because Derek sir is there. I'll just share my screen for a minute, and there we go. We have Derek's website, rock and roll. Okay. All right. So here, all of you should go today to Google and type OBS Studio. OBS Studio. Okay. Now, OBS project, it is an open source project. When you say open source, it is free. No paisa. தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்னா ஓசில கிடைக்குது, காசு கிடையாது, ஓசி. உங்க பைசே செலவாகாது. And the beauty, is it there on the screen, ma'am, for people?
Yes.
You see this OBS Studio, you can use it either for Windows or for Mac or for Linux. I'm sure each of you will have either one, okay, your laptop or your system. And the beauty of OBS is it's so free, and you can record, you can edit your digital resume, plus you can do live streaming. Now your college can do live streaming and students can see it anywhere. So it's not just about recording. You can also do movies on this. There are short films, there are big movies, and Derek uses OBS a lot, sitting in UK. So I wish that all of you download this. It's written there, no ma'am?
Yes.
Free and open source software for free recording and live streaming. So when such a big option is there, I wish everyone to download it. And we'll also put today in the group how to use OBS, Yeah. So anyway, we have just 4 more minutes. So let me quickly now, you can also do your introduction as per your plan. But are you able to see the website of Derek Cheshire? Everyone? Yes, no, yes. Yeah, so amazing professor. He's an author. We have used his whole textbook called Creativity and Innovation in our business school for 1 full semester. And sir came twice to our university, did the course, and went back to the UK. So he's a corporate speaker, international speaker. If you go to his website, I'll show you this place in the website. You go to speaking and training, keynotes, seminars, masterclass, or then you go to about, and then you go to find out more or rethinking the future. He has given a lot of resources which are free. You can download it here. All right. So I'm sure there are courses on creativity innovation by every business school. You can go here and you can download all of them as much as you want. You see here, innovation handbook. Is it there, ma'am, on the left?
Yes.
Visualization, innovation handbook, free book, technique kit. So he has done an amazing work. and at such a senior professor and author and industry expert. He consults a lot of industries. So Derek, it's exactly now I guess 1:30 for you or 1:27 for you. All right.
Yeah, which is a little bit later than when you called me this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone rang my wife is not very happy with you.
Not happy. I have to give you double chai.
Yeah, 5:30 a.m. this morning my phone rang.
Oh gosh. Oh, I gave you a call, no? What's up,
yeah,
call?
the phone rang and I thought I'm not answering it.
Okay, it was 5:30 early morning. Now it's. Are you done with your lunch break, sir?
Yes, absolutely fine.
Okay,
the only trouble is the lighting keeps changing here, but there we go.
Okay, how are things happening? Back to square one. Now it's little opened up and UK.
Well, we're just under what they call tier 3 lockdown now. We're actually going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So businesses and that are still open. Pubs, if they don't sell food, have to close. Bars and things in the evening shut at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
There's a lot of things happening. Yeah, it all started going really badly when all the universities went back.
Okay, so
all the cities with universities, the cases they're now going back down again. But
good. So just be safe. And Dr. Matilla, ma'am,
yes,
is Dr. Derek Cheshire, and Dr. Derek. There's Dr. Mary Matilla there on the screen. Maybe I can put it in the gallery view if people can see there. Ma'am, it's over to you. Derek is an awesome person. He has trained so many professors in India. So many, from Jammu Kashmir to Tamil Nadu and everywhere. So,
but has it done them any good? This is the question.
it should be. It should.
Are they any better for it?
Oh, somewhere somebody will definitely see when you can do this at your stage, at your age, sitting at home so much. It's such an honor for us back in India to get to listen to a international professor. And all this, as I told you, they're all MBA students and a couple of them MBA teachers. Over to you, Madla ma'am, 6 p.m. sharp. We told him we'll give at 6 p.m. So it's over to you. Yeah,
we are very, very happy, and it's our pleasure that, to welcome you to our institution, though virtually. And here, this is the 4th day of the workshop, this international workshop on upskilling in the digital world for career development. Couple of our faculty are here, and students from institutions from 3 states of India are here. And we are very happy to have you accepted our invitation. And I want to thank Dr. Samuel Johnson for helping us to get connected with you. And of course, thank you for being over here. So Ritika, can you have the profile done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please. Yes.
Good evening, all. I'm glad to introduce our guest for today's session, Dr. Derek Cheshire. Derek is a specialist in the fields of business creativity and innovation. Since 2002, he has championed creativity as a serious business tool to allow organizations of all sizes to realize their full potential, create the products and services that their customers want, and ultimately improve their bottom line. His work encompasses innovation strategy, project management, creativity masterclasses, facilitating continuous innovation, and of course, speaking on the topics of creativity and innovation. Sir is a member of the Mastermind Group for the Design Interaction course at the Royal College of Art and Design in The Hague, and has appeared on the CNBC program, The Business of Innovation, and is a fellow of the RSA and fellow of the Institute of Social Innovation, Creativity and Change. His mission is to ensure that everyone has fun and show how useful and profitable creativity and innovation can be. It's a pleasure welcoming you, sir. I now request you to take over the session.
Right, there will be a short interlude whilst I stop my camera and share a screen. So don't go away. So hopefully now you can see some PowerPoint. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, rethinking your business.
Yeah, excellent. Right, okay. I shall just start something off and then. Right, okay. Right, let's begin. Well, good evening. That's showing off a little bit, I guess. As Sam said, I'm actually using OBS, and I actually wanted to try the technology out because I'm speaking at a conference tomorrow and I've been having some technical issues. So if anybody does want to get to grips with open broadcast software and has any problems, please do get in touch. It's quite simple at the start, and as you get into it more and more, then you might find that things get a little bit complicated. But anyway, back to rethinking your business. This is a modified version of something that I've been doing with Sam most of the year, in fact. We called it, or I called it, rethinking the classroom. It's very similar, and if you're a lecturer or teacher, you can use this. If you're a student, you can use this. So don't worry. And if you get confused by some of the terminology, then please do shout out in the chat or something like that. So the question is, why is it more than just going online? I know certainly here in the UK, for teachers and speakers, when COVID hit, the first thing everybody did was get a Zoom license and go online. But all that's happening is we're online now, and we're remote from our students if we're teachers. We're remote from our customers if we're businesses, and this actually makes it worse, because when you think about it, that means our customers are now customers of everybody else who's gone online. So we need to do something slightly differently, and this is where changing our modes of thinking comes in. But the problem also is, if everybody's trying to be different, how do you be different? So how different is your different? So what I'm going to do today is tease you a little bit with some interactive exercises and give you run through some of what I call the 12 precepts of creativity, which are like guiding rules. They are to creativity what rules for making chai are to making chai. Nothing's hard and fast, but there are guidelines that you do have to follow. This is a little bit of fun I like to have. I've changed the number because this is for something I did in the UK, but that number is the volume in litres of a decent-sized swimming pool, or as we like to call it here, the Mediterranean Sea. 4.39 quintillion litres. Now, for this little exercise, I'd just like you to imagine that you actually are around the Mediterranean Sea. You've gone to Turkey, you've gone to Spain, you've gone to Italy, somewhere like that. You're in the sea. And standing behind you is a Professor Samuel Johnson, who's a very nasty chap indeed. He has in his hand 1 litre container, and in that litre container are 1 billion bacteria. They're not deadly bacteria, they're not going to kill you, but they produce a chemical that's bright red. Now, these bacteria, they double in number every minute. So there'll be 2 billion after 1 minute, enough to fill 2 litres of water, etc., etc. Now, for the purposes of this, just guess. I'd like you to have a guess at how long, roughly speaking, it would take before the whole Mediterranean Sea turned bright red. So just think, is it of the order of minutes? Is it hours? Is it days? Is it months? So just put a number in the chat So if you put in 1 for minutes, 2 for hours, 3 for days, and 4 for months, just off the top of your head, how long do you think it's going to take for the Mediterranean Sea to turn bright red or almost bright red, and for you to need to be able to leap out? So just something to put in the chat box. Don't be shy. Sam, you can't do this because you've already heard this before. Is nobody gonna? Oh, 2. So that's ours. Anybody else? 2. Oh, come on! You're just copying now. They're all going to say 2. Well, we can't wait for too long. If you've got some more ideas, pop them up now. But the answer actually is a little under 62 minutes. And I choose the volume appropriately. Normally, I would choose the volume of the Indian Ocean. I choose the volume of the Med. I've used the volume of the Atlantic. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually matter. The time to fill each of these, make them a bright red, it only varies by 2 or 3 minutes. And that's because this is exponential. And the purpose of this is to actually tell us how, well, apart from the fact it's a fun exercise, is to tell us or show us how quickly things can approach us. How quickly did COVID approach us? How quickly does technology change approach us? How quickly does social and cultural change come along? I mean, 62 minutes and the Mediterranean is full of red. 4 minutes beforehand, that's 2 to the power of 4. It would be 1/16, i.e., just over 6% full. So that red color would approach at a phenomenal rate. So we need to be able to get off the train tracks before we can even see the train coming. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. We need to be able to, we can actually predict things, but we need to be able to predict things. We need to maintain a degree of flexibility, and we need to have very good decision making. So this is the first of my 12 precepts. I think I ought to maybe rename them chai making guidelines. But anyway, so adopt a set to break sets. And by that, I mean, we all have fixed ways of thinking. We have mindsets. The neuroscientists call these heuristics. And these are ways which they're shortcuts. And they manifest themselves as biases as well. It means that we automatically do things without thinking about them. But we also have things that we do think about, and we still do them the same way. We might go to work the same way. We might eat the same things at lunchtime. We might go to bed at exactly the same time. We might read books by the same author or read the same genre. So in order to be even slightly creative, what we actually do need to do is break these mindsets. So do something different. Find a new way of doing it. Take a different bus if you're going by bus. Take a different route if you're driving. Try a different channel on the television. Whatever it happens to be, do something different. And once you keep doing different things over and over again, you'll find that you're actually making new neural pathways, and you'll start thinking in different ways. Now, there are a lot of things which I call givens. Some people might say they're rules, they're regulations. They're the things that we obey, if you like, and the assumptions we make. These assumptions can be about other people, and can be about the way they think, the way they do things. It can be about rules and regulations. We say, we can't do this because there's a rule that says we can't. Are you sure? Have you checked? Have the rules changed? Now, we can't examine every silly, simple little thing all of the time. It would take too long. But there are a lot of things that we say we can't do because of something else. So re-examine these, especially rules and boundaries to problems, because they're not always what you think they are. Now, this is probably for people who do a little bit of project management, or maybe are in control of or managing other people. But the world is full of far too much information. And contrary to popular belief, it is impossible to multitask. Sorry, ladies, the person who said that ladies can multitask, men can't, they're wrong. Nobody can multitask at all. What we actually do is we switch context, we switch between things. And the more we switch, the more energy it takes, the more tired we become, the less good our concentration is. So what we need to do is a bit like a helicopter. If we want to be high up, we see everything. We see the whole scenery, we see the whole of the horizon. And that's great, but we don't see the detail. So again, the helicopter can go down, and then you can have a look at the detail. Don't do this too often, but that's the way we keep on top of things. Go from high to low and switch contexts as little as you can. So in a normal work day, this could mean chunking things up into periods of time. So we look at all our emails, say first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening or whenever. We don't keep changing our attention from one thing to another. But broad picture, local detail, remember, think helicopter. This is my favourite because I am a big kid at heart. We are told not to play. When we were all children, we were very, very playful. We used to run around pretending we were, well, certainly here in the UK, we were cowboys and Indians. We had sticks for guns and swords, and we used to hide behind inside things and imagine they were forts and houses. It was imaginary play. And then something terrible happened. We went to school where we were told, play's not good, that's messing about, you need to pass exams. Then we went to college where we were taught, you've got to pass exams. Then we got jobs and we were told, you've got to go on a creativity course. Why? We've just educated it out of ourselves. So I'm not saying we have to play cowboys and Indians as adults, but this thing that we call play for adults is something slightly different. Engineers would call it prototyping. That's what they're doing. They're playing. If you're a teacher creating a new course and you say to a colleague, I'll just show this to you before I show my students, you're actually playing. So this is very important to play. It's an environment where we get constructive feedback. It's a non-threatening environment. And it's very useful psychologically as well, especially in these COVID-filled times. So value play. Another very important one. If somebody comes to you with an idea about something, what do you say? A lot of us say, that's really rubbish. We say, yeah, I'd love to do that, but... Now, it is very difficult sometimes if ideas really aren't that great. But instead of being negative, build things up. So when somebody comes to you, say, yes, it could be better if we turned it upside down or made it yellow or took something out or put something in. That way people will come to you. And if people do it to you, you'll feel better. So say yes and, not yes but. And also building on ideas can be helpful. It's not necessarily the first idea we get. It's the ideas with other ideas built on or combined that's important. Live with looseness. It's a good term, meaning just hang loose. In these COVID times, making plans for even 6 months ahead, let alone years ahead, is really impossible. Some people will say, of course I can make plans, of course I can change my strategies. Well, yes, you can, but you're going to have to keep on changing them. So we need to be able to allow just a certain degree of ambiguity, a certain degree of flexibility, but be prepared to make decisions quickly and in the right way when we need to. So having a certain degree of ambiguity is good. I can remember when I worked as a project manager, the boss would say, well, where are we with? And you had to give a finite answer. The answer is not, well, we're just waiting to see what happens. That's not good. That wasn't good enough. But it might be now, as long as you know what happens, what sort of what happens you're waiting for. So live with looseness, live with a degree of ambiguity. Now, this is the thing I always used to have fun with in live workshops. I used to ask people, is there anybody there who really thinks they're not creative? Now, it's a bit of a double-edged sword in a way, because if we're talking about creativity, most people listening will say, well, of course I am. They don't want to be seen as not creative. But then there is always somebody who says, please, sir, I'm not creative at all. The answer is really, everybody has a degree of creativity inside them. It's just how much and in what way they use it. If you, for instance, have been asked to get something for the evening meal on the way home from college or the way home from work, and you've forgotten, and you got home and somebody says, where's the stuff I asked you to get? And you think to yourself, oh dear, I've forgotten, haven't I? But what you actually do is say, oh, the traffic was bad, I was late leaving work, the shops were closed. You make excuses, you tell a story. That's creativity. We are all able to be creative in remarkably different ways. Somebody with thoughts and ideas for, say, new products or services at work. Some people for writing, some people for music. This is all creativity. It can all be harnessed. It can all be used. So just find out what you've got, let it flow and use it to the best of your ability. But here's the rub. Also use it with other people. Creativity is not a solo sport. We can use creative techniques on our own, but it's incredibly difficult. We're all used to have the idea of talking to other people and using what we call bouncing ideas off people. What we're actually doing is the sort of yes and, not yes but. We're going to other people with ideas and combining them, and you can get feedback, and you can find people who have creativity the same as yours, different to yours, or just people who are having problems doing stuff with it. So working with others is very good for generating and shaping ideas. So do it as much as possible. In fact, doing things like this, using Zoom, using Teams, other online tools and social media, actually makes it far easier. If you want to meet up with somebody, it's an hour. You have to go to a coffee shop. But if you just want to talk to somebody, I'll have a WhatsApp call. As long as it's not at 5:30 in the morning, Samuel Johnson. We need to be open and receptive to new ideas. It is very easy, especially when somebody has an opinion that's very, very opposite to yours, to say, no, I'm not listening to that. Even if you don't agree with what somebody's saying, listen to it. There could be something in it that you might take away and use. And talking about take away and using, people say, oh, we shouldn't be copying other people's ideas. In the world of creativity, we call that creative swiping. So if you see something that's not copyrighted and you think it's useful, please do use it. So idea triggers can come from anywhere. The more unexpected, the better. All this really is play unless you know actually what you want to get out of it. So what are you trying? What are you trying to do? You could be a business, creating new products or services, or even processes for just normal working. You could be a college lecturer, you could be a student, you could be absolutely anybody, but know why you want to do any of this. Because if you don't, it's simply just play. This takes a bit of explaining sometimes. Cycle often and close late. And I don't mean ride a bicycle and close your business later in the evening. Most of us do things where we go round and round in circles, iterative circles, that is. We might create an assignment, we might create a proposal, we might be creating course material, something that has to be developed and submitted somewhere, somehow. And it's very tempting to say, oh, I'll just get that out of the way. I'll do it quickly, and then that's it. But if it doesn't have to be until the end of November and you do it now and something happens in the meantime and you miss something really good happening, how do you feel? So I'm not saying don't do it till the last moment. Let's all procrastinate. What I'm saying is you can start by all means. And when it's finished, don't just press the send button or put it in the mail or whatever. Just keep it there so you can go around your loop again and find the things that are good. The whole process has to be managed. Now, again, I'm not saying we have to have a full-blown process here, but if you're doing something in the current era, you're going to involve lots of people. You've got yourself. You might have some colleagues. You might be using OBS, such as this. You might need resources. You might need some video. There's all sorts of things. When I say manage it, I mean it could just be a list of things, but just stay on top of it. Pay attention to things. It does make a difference. So all of these things can map onto things that we really, when I'll say practical things we do in real life. Mindsets. Well, there are patterns that we need to break. Some people say, I can't use technology. Some people say, oh, I like being in a classroom. I like being with my friends. I don't like this. So what? This is where we are. So the question is, how can you do the things you want to do in a digital classroom, or how can you do the things you want to do with your friends? I was listening to some people at who work for a theatre here in the UK talking about how they're going to do their Christmas pantomimes digitally this year. It's all possible. There'll be an awful lot of self-reflection for everybody because you do spend quite a bit of time on your own. This is not a bad thing. If your teacher's preparing courses, then build in that self-reflection as well, because first of all, it means your students do more work and you can gain some valuable insights into how they're coping with material. Open-ended questions, once again, it buys you lots more time. If you're on the other end, but maybe you were talking about digital CVs, beware of going for jobs where, of course, people are asking open-ended questions. How do you feel about? There could be a lot of why and what if questions. So maybe prepare a few. Involve others. Talk to other people about it. Flexible working. Now, how flexible is flexible working these days? Yes, a lot of us are online. We do occasionally meet up. But what sort of working? I mean, anything is possible now. I attended a conference literally 2 weeks ago And before, it would have been a Zoom thing with lots of breakout rooms. But no, there was a proper digital reception area. There was a main stage, breakout rooms. There was booths for people to visit, to go and see products, all sorts. So anything we do can be replicated if we want. And if we want to make it better, the technology is there. So although we're working flexibly, let us not constrain ourselves by the past. Now, personality. If you're a teacher and you're in a face-to-face classroom, it's easy. You know who the introverts and extroverts are. You know who the people are, people who are shy and quiet. You know who's having problems. Maybe you can do your homework. But in this day and age, you might be meeting students for the first time. If you're a student, you could be meeting a future employer or for the first time, or your boss when you become an intern. We need to get to grips with personalities, especially digital personalities, and, dare I say it, COVID-enhanced personalities. It seems to make people stressed and angry. So personality matters is all I will say to that. If you're a teacher, maybe use what I call problem finding. I like to think of courses or the knowledge embedded in a course as the wires on a telegraph pole, supported every now and then by the telegraph poles. Now, how do we encourage people to go from one to the other? We can't spoon feed them everything. And this is where I would say use problem finding and an element of risk taking. Which leads me on nicely to the flipped classroom. I put this in quotes because I'm not just talking about classrooms. I could be talking about businesses here as well. And most people would have heard, certainly in education, would have heard of the flipped classroom. And in its purest, simplest form, it is simply where we change the order we do things. So instead of having a seminar or a workshop or a lesson and give somebody a handout on the way out, we do it the other way around. We give them the handout beforehand. And why is this? It is simply because the low-level learning in the handout, the nuts and bolts, the how to do it, is very easily assimilated. The high-level learning, the what do we do with the tools, what happens if it goes wrong, all of those things, the high-level learning is better done in an interactive environment. And that's what the Open University has done in the UK for a long, long time. It's been distance learning since the early 60s. They send course material out on a monthly basis. You do assignments, you have face-to-face tutorials and face-to-face residential schools once every 6 months. And that's a very good way of doing it. It works in the workplace as well. You can distribute information and then come together with people and say, how do we use it? How do we solve this problem with it? Is that all right, guys? Role models and experts. This is springboards. This is where you get extra information from. Not just having people like me along to talk to you, but what happens? What could you learn from a musical composer or a ballet dancer or a top engineer or an archaeologist? There's usually something in there. So it's not about the subject matter, it's what you can learn from them and the experiences. And the last thing I put in here is design thinking. Go and have a look at design thinking, but it has changed the way people innovate. It's going to change the way the world works. For teachers, it's putting the student at the center of everything. So it's not, oh, here's the stuff I'm giving you, now I'll test you. It's how easy is it for the student to take this from you, assimilate it, use it, and then demonstrate their knowledge of the knowledge you just have given them. For businesses, it's all about the customer. What are the customers demanding? Not what is it we're going to give them. So it puts the customer, in big quotes, at the center of everything. So there are resources on the internet, design thinking for education. If you're a student or a business, then design thinking for business is the stuff that you want to have a look at. Now, this is where we hopefully have a little bit more interactivity than we did last time. I have some people who, if you've been for an interview with the civil service in India, you might have seen these before. I'm going to have to invent some more of my own. I'll tell you where they came from and why we used them afterwards. But simple question number one, how on earth do you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? If you have any ideas at all, please type them into the chat. Now, I shall wait a short time. And we've got 4 of these, so don't be shy. When things come into your head, please do just type them out. If you're on YouTube or you're on a phone, it's not quite so easy. But if you've got a keyboard, then please give me some ideas. How would you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? Well, come on, don't be shy. I think people are just going to oh yeah. Well, that's one way of doing it, indeed. I'll keep an eye on the chat, but we will move on because there's more questions to this. Get giraffe meat and put it in. That's not nice. I think someone's got a very nasty sense of humour there. Trouble is, I forget there is a time delay, and you're 3,000 or not. No, it's not 3,000. It's about 6,000 miles away. But right, okay. Well, let's move on to the next question. How do you put an elephant into a refrigerator? Just wait a minute and see what people come up with that. Is anybody give an venture a guess at how we would get an elephant into a refrigerator? What? Oh. I just love the way even the clever people are falling. I'm not falling into traps, but it is quite interesting. Okay, question number 3 for all you clever people. The king of the jungle is having a party. Which animal is not there? Oh. I think there are just two or three people playing this game, aren't there? And finally, let's ask question number 4, shall we? You've got to get across an alligator-infested river. How do you do it? Simple question. Let's see if I turn that light out if I'm a bit more visible. Or maybe that one. Oh, it's getting bright outside, so swim? Just swim. Ah. Right. Okay. Let's just go back a minute to that one. Going back to the several people of approaching this actually in the way that you would expect. How do you put a giraffe into a refrigerator? Well, I've asked you a question, and the only boundaries, if you like, I've given you are that there's a giraffe and a refrigerator. So, first of all, why can I not just put it in? I didn't say how big the giraffe was or whether it was a real giraffe. It could be a picture. It could be an inflatable giraffe that I could stick a pin into. The refrigerator could just simply be giraffe sized. So there's lots of things that could happen there. Here, often people say, take the giraffe out, put the elephant in, which is entirely valid. But I didn't say how big the refrigerator was, so maybe I could put the elephant and the giraffe in at the same time. Somebody once did say, put the elephant into a blender. That would be interesting too. So once again, I haven't given you lots and lots of boundaries for this problem. This is where if you're a teacher, I have to ask you to plug your ears. We had a teacher on one of these who basically said these questions are ridiculous. They went very quiet after I explained why they're not ridiculous, and I will in a minute, because they couldn't cope with the fact that they were what they thought was silly questions, but they're not. They could all be answered with the information that's there. Now, number 3 usually is there for the, should we say, the more logical people. If you've just put 1 or 2 animals into a refrigerator, you say, well, which one isn't there? It's got to be that 1 or those 2 animals. But what about now? We've got COVID-19. Which of the animals might have COVID-19? That's a possibility. The king of jungle can't have his party because we're all under lockdown. So there's all sorts of answers you could give. And question number 4, you've got to get across the alligator-infested river. How? Well, the logical people will say, well, everybody's at the party except for the alligators, and the elephant and the giraffe may or may not be in the refrigerator, so you can just swim across. Somebody might say, well, Uber have just opened a speedboat taxi service, so I'll just get one of those. Or I've just unpacked my hot air balloon and I've floated across. Now, this is interesting. This is an example of what I said earlier about examining boundaries. Sometimes boundaries need to be tested, and so that you actually say, well, this is valid, this isn't, this is a constraint, or it's not. If the boundaries aren't there, don't put them in the way, for goodness sake. Now, where did all these come from? I'm sure the Indian Civil Service would love to claim credit for it. In fact, these questions didn't come from there. A company called Accenture, which used to be Arthur Andersen Consulting, created these questions many years ago, and they basically gave them to 2 sets of people. They gave them to senior managers all around the world. And then they gave them to children. And guess who had, they're not right answers, but guess who had the best answers? You've already guessed it. Their 6-year-old children provided the best answers. They were the richest answers. They used their imagination the most. And this is what we need in education, in business, in our societies. We need this sort of thinking which actually allows us to go out and take advantage of the possibilities. Even now we have coronavirus and all the other things going on in the world, there still are possibilities. So please use this type of thinking. And I know Sam liked this when he first saw it. You will have to do a little bit of typing in the chat box in a minute, but only put in a number. These are two small rabbits, not long born, one male, one female. And we all know what rabbits do. In 1 month, they grow up. And at that point, they are able to reproduce. So the male and the female rabbit have two baby rabbits. And for the purposes of this exercise, one is male, one is female. In another month, the first lot have had another pair of rabbits, and the firstborn have grown up. They can have their own babies as well. You can see a pattern here, can't you? So my question to you, and you might just have to take a guess at this, and I'll tell you the answer very shortly, is after 12 months, how many pairs of rabbits would you have, given that each month the male and female baby rabbit grow up, and a month later they are able to reproduce? How many pairs of rabbits would we have after 12 months? Just type your guess into the chat box and see how near or not you might be. Four pairs after 12 months. Indian rabbits are obviously very slow at reproducing. They don't do what British rabbits do. 12 pairs. 5 pairs. Okay. Well, let's put you out of your misery. This is a sequence of numbers. You can see at the beginning you have 1 pair, then you still have 1 pair. Then the next month you have 2 pairs. And then you have 3 pairs. And the sequence here is that you get the next number in the sequence by adding the 2 previous numbers. So 1 and 1 makes 2, 1 and 2 make 3, 2 and 3 make 5, 5 and 8 make 13, etc. And the last number, 144, is the actual answer. You would have 144 pairs of nice, fluffy rabbits after 12 months. But this is an interesting sequence. I mean, this dilemma, if you like, was first examined back in the 12th century. This is actually the Fibonacci sequence for those who may have studied it in mathematics. Now, the Fibonacci sequence is a very interesting sequence of numbers. It occurs naturally in nature. If you examine the number of petals in certain flowers, if you can't all have the same number of petals going round and round and round the center of a flower. A sunflower is interesting to look at. In fact, the number of petals conforms to the Fibonacci sequence. Even better than that, if you divide one number by the number preceding it, okay, at the beginning it starts with 1, then it becomes 2, then it becomes 1.66 or whatever. That tends to a number which is just above 1.6. And that's used if you see these beauty magazines, when people talk about, the most beautiful face in the world, or the golden ratio, or whatever. That's the number that they're using. Car designers use it. They use the ratio of 1.6 to 1, or 1 over 1.6 to 1 is used to determine, for instance, the distance between the floor and the bottom of the window, and the bottom of the window and the roof line in a car, because it's something that's pleasing to the eye. Now, here's another thing. If you're a teacher or a trainer, You can use this as well. If let's think, a simple example would be if you were getting somebody to describe or draw what they can see. Let them have a minute to do it. Then maybe do it again. Let them have 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes. You don't have to go through every number in the sequence. You can choose to go down the sequence. And the poor drawers will always be poor no matter what you do. And the good drawers, well, they will still be good. But although we've had more time and you will be able to do more drawing, you actually find that people notice more detail. For some inexplicable reason, the Fibonacci sequence is somehow in our heads. So these are things you can use. Now here's 4 top tips. I'm going to actually start with the third one, be curious. And the reason that I start with that one is because until a few weeks ago, I was completely unaware of all of the mysteries of the Fibonacci sequence. I actually attended a workshop which was taken by a fine artist, and some interesting things happened. I was curious. I Googled it. So my first tip for anybody is please be curious. If somebody teaches you something, shows you something, tells you about something that you really don't know, just Google it. You'll find at the very least the Wikipedia entry. You will find websites with it on. You'll find other resources or reference to it. Make notes about everything and have to-do lists. And for goodness sake, don't talk to boring people. Talk to interesting people. And as I say, avoid the incurious people. Now, there's 2 very interesting people actually in history. Leonardo da Vinci was one of them. He was a great artist. He was an inventor. He had notebooks full of drawings, full of ideas, and even better, he had lists of people that he wanted to speak to. He was very, very curious. There was another chap who was absolutely rubbish at school. Terrible academically, but very curious. And that was Albert Einstein. And he didn't do too badly. So curiosity is what leads us to the places that we may or may not want to go, but it leads us to the interesting places. So let's rewind. Number one tip, record everything. It's quite if you actually relax, if you chill out, which is point 2, things pop into your head. I have a habit of doing that. So carry a notepad around with you, or we all have on our smartphone, we all have a voice recorder. Dictate something. If there's something that you say, I must remember that. Don't ask a friend or a colleague to remind you the following day. Just get it down somehow. There's a nice little application called otter.ai. It's effectively a voice recording application, but it translates it into text for you. So you actually have a text file with your thoughts in. It transcribes up to, I think it's 600 minutes a month free of charge. So use that as well. But for goodness sake, record it, write it down on something. Distracting yourself when you need a bit of inspiration, when you're trying to solve a difficult problem, or just because it's nice sometimes. If you do something different, going to sleep obviously is different, but go for a walk, meet people, lie on your back, look at the clouds in the sky, whatever. When that happens, we slow our brainwaves down. When they get down to about 12 cycles per second, those are alpha waves, and our brain is at its most creative at that point. So be prepared for those eureka moments. That's why you leap out of the bath with a good idea, or out of bed. If you've got a particularly difficult thing you're doing at the moment, then please think all you can about it, try and get to the nub of the problem, and then chill out. then do the distraction and relaxation, and your brain is just doing its stuff whilst you're chilling. We've covered curiosity. Ask young children. Yeah, if you've got a new design for something, if you've got a new product or service, if you've got a new anything, a new idea, ask young children. If you can't explain it to them in just a few words, they get bored, they don't get it, then nobody else is either. Yes, if you're a teacher, you're teaching older people, then by all means ask them for their opinions about things. But for goodness sake, ask the opinion of young children. They're brutally honest. They ask awkward questions, particularly the why questions, so you might get a bit upset. So there's tons of top tips I could give you, but these are my 4. Record everything, distract yourself, excuse me, be curious, and ask young children. So Sam's already shown you my website. There's some links there if you want to go and have a look. You can find me on Twitter. You can email me if you've got questions or whatever. Look on the website. Take a snapshot of the QR code. Do whatever you want. If you've got some questions, I'm only happy to answer. I don't bite, honestly, and I'm too far away to bite. So thank you for listening. And I'll stop that share.
So, thank you, Dr. Derek Cheshire, for the wonderful, talk. We were really inspired by your 12 points of, so many, and I like something like, have a bit of ambiguity or uncertainty, which is good. Sometimes, we become too lethargic when we don't have anything, as a problem. So
Indeed, and in some cases, in some cultures, it's not a problem. In other cultures, it is. And I mean, in India and also in the Middle East, where storytelling is rife, there's a lot of storytelling. It's easier to do. Not so easy for us here in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, that was really wonderful. And then, this think about, you gave some points, right? Within quotes, mindset, self-reflection, open-ended questions, personality matters. Then, a few other things like problem solving, flipped classroom for our teachers, that was really great. And of course, the 4 tips which you ended with this was also really, very, very useful. And I hope, this was a wonderful session. Here, the platform is yours, audience. You can ask questions to Dr. Derek, and you're most welcome for that. Just because we have to close sharp 7, we will have just 3 questions, short 3 questions. Please go ahead.
They're either all too blown away or gone away to do something else.
Come on. Yes. Yes, please.
Ritika,
Ritika,
good
yes.
evening, sir. I have a question, which is, you said that we have to involve people. Yes, of course, without the involvement of others, we cannot do anything in this world. There should be some part played by others in our life too. But sometimes involving others may take us to some other, like we set some targets and we want to achieve that, but involving others might deviate us from that. So up to what level we can involve others in our side, sir?
Well, I to be honest, involve others as much as you can. It depends. it does depend what you're doing, and if somebody was running a company, this is a lot easier. But the problems surrounding involving other people usually arise for, well, there are two main reasons. One is misunderstandings, and the other is language. Now, your question about targets, if targets are plain for everybody, it goes back to knowing what you really want. If you're going to have a full blown interaction, or dare I say, love-in with somebody, you're going to get very close to them. Then you're going to have to take everything that goes with it. But if you say, well, actually, I would just like to talk to you about this. I want your opinion on this, or we're going to do this for a certain amount of time, then that's fine. The other problem, as I said, is language, and that happens a lot. That happens a lot in companies where people at different levels, different sexes, different nationalities, all talk in different ways. So it goes back to managing the process and knowing what you want to get out of it. We do have to involve others, but you don't have to involve others at every stage of everything. You don't involve others when you go to the bathroom, for instance, do you? So common sense sort of prevails there. So there, and again, it's ambiguous. There are no hard and fast rules. This is where we all have to decide these things for ourselves, I'm afraid.
Yes.
Oh, somebody's just posted a question, but I can't see it.
That is Ritika. Ritika, hope you got it. You got the answer, right?
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Work-life balance for a teacher. Oh, dearie me. Well, it is an interesting question. I mean, it's not particularly to do with creative. The funny thing about creativity is that if you create a workplace or an environment that caters for creativity, from a human resources point of view, you have an ideal environment. But if you create what human resources people think is an ideal environment, you don't necessarily get creativity. So it's a bit like saying a cat has 4 legs. An animal has 4 legs, therefore it's a cat. It's not. So first of all, yes, by all means, if you adopt some of these principles, I would say that you will the being able to cope with ambiguity, the idea of using the helicopter view so that you don't task switch all the time, you will end up with reduced stress. We tend to think of work-life balance as the number of hours you spend teaching versus the number of hours you spend at home. It's not that. It's the amount of energy you expend, and also to the point where your work activities impinge on your home life. So I would say embrace some of those 12 things, and you should find you're actually less stressful. But other than that, you might need to do a bit of time management as well. Ooh, who's watching?
Yes.
Oh, positive attitude. An MBA student must have. Well, all I would say to that one is, if you either want to go on and do something beyond your MBA or get a job, then you do need to be incredibly positive. You have to know your stuff. You have to know yourself. And actually, where creativity comes into that, you're going to have to be very creative in how to market yourself post MBA as well. In a country such as India and countries such as China, when even the lampposts have MBAs, you've got to really, really, really stick out. So when I was talking about what is the difference that makes the difference, how can you be different? How do you set yourself apart from other people? I mean, Sam was talking about digital CVs. There is no unearthly reason why, once you get yourself sorted, for instance, you can't create a video CV, or using any media you like. It just has to say something about you. It has to capture the imagination of whoever you're sending it to. So you just need to be incredibly positive. You need to keep an open mind, and, as they say, use serendipity. Serendipity, by the way, is not just good luck. Serendipity is when something fortunate happens, is being able to know what to do when it does happen. So when the opportunities present yourself, you're ready. So other than that, you can't really say much more about what that other attributes an MBA student has to have. Why is creativity important for innovation? Well, it's part of innovation. Creativity, in a way, is just it's play, and it's ideas. It's creating ideas. It's maybe storing ideas and capturing ideas. And innovation itself is, we're actually creating value from ideas. We're taking them to the marketplace. It might not be a paid for marketplace. It could be an educational marketplace. So value is being created in other ways. So it isn't, creativity and innovation aren't the same thing, but innovation is a function of, if you like, creativity, which is the new ideas, the capturing of ideas, the combination of ideas, and things we already know, things that are written in books, things that are on computer systems, stories that people tell, all the knowledge that's acquired, and all that is effectively mashed together in an environment, whether it's a college, whether it's a business, whatever. And it depends how you do that. It's the processes, procedures we put in place to do that is where the where the Americans might say, where the big potatoes are. But creativity is just a component. There's an awful lot that goes around it to turn it into something that we can use.
So anybody else have a question, or we will close with this?
I think we've just wowed them too much.
Okay. Yeah. But it was so good, I think these set of students should understand that thousands of MBAs coming out from India. And, setting yourself apart is very, very, very important to show yourself distinguished. That is what Dr. Derek has also taught you today. And how to be creative, how to be innovative, where you have to set apart, how you have to do it. Is that the entire day, he's kept on talking to us. And, there were so many good things that we had learned today. Right from the beginning, Dr. Salini, who talked about, Tabule, Excel and all those. Johnson came down talking about OBS Studio and Kind Master. And, Dr. Derek, one more thing I was excited of looking at is that, the helicopter making a bigger picture. And then doing a micromanagement test. So I think that's very important, as we have to know the bigger picture of what we are going to get into. And then only then, you'll be able to bifurcate and understand the micro part of it, how to execute and how to set goals and go ahead. I think these are, great learnings today. I hope that, this day was a great day in everybody's life here. It was a fantastic opportunity for all of us to listen to you, Dr. Derek. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and being with us and sharing your valuable thoughts. Hope that after the pandemic is over, if you are in India, definitely you have to come down, visit Sri Ramakrishna Engineering College in Coimbatore.
If you've got chai there, I'll be there.
Sure.
It's my favorite, my most favorite thing in the world is walking down the street, going to one of the chai vendors there and just getting chai.
Okay. Right.
I love
right.
it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
but if anybody has any more questions, just ping me an email and I'll do my best to answer them.
Yes, I've taken a screenshot of his the last slide he showed about his website and his email
Yeah,
ID
okay,
number.
that's
I will
fine.
post it. Yeah, I will
Yeah.
post it in the group that we have. We actually have formed a group for this international workshop. So I will post it in that. Kindly get in touch with great people like these people. It's a wonderful chance for you students. Don't ever miss this chance of getting in touch with him. Get in touch with him through, get connected through LinkedIn. So do that, and you will have a great wonderful life ahead. Thank you for joining on this fourth day, and we have successfully completed the fourth day. Tomorrow is the last day, and we will have Mr. David Madhu with us from KPMG Group. And of course, Samuel Johnson also will be sharing something. So don't miss tomorrow. It's a very, useful day for us tomorrow. And, KPMG is hiring a lot of people now, and then it's going to be a day of probably a connectivity with a very important person, I will tell you. So thank you. And here again, Dr. Derek, I want to tell you that 2 of our students who are going to join for the next batch with us for Ramakrishna Engineering College is here. One is Halifax, he's from Ghana, and another is Hari Krishna from Coimbatore, or probably somewhere from Tamil Nadu in India. And thank you both for joining us. It's been good that you are a forerunners, kind of like, you came for this international workshop. You are understanding how this department is functioning and what we actually focus on. So this will give us a kind of opportunity for you to get in touch with the other, of your friends in 1 or 2 months that we are going to start the course, MBA course for the first year. Thank you all my students, the other college students specifically as participants here. Thank you faculty team down here. Thank you Dr. Samuel Johnson and Dr. Salini. Okay, a big thanks to Dr. Derek Cheshire for being with us today. And I hope that definitely we will have you on campus very soon after this pandemic. Thank you one and all, and hope we will close for this day and join tomorrow by 5 o'clock. See you all tomorrow by 5 o'clock. A big bye to people.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.